Hello. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, why is this so blurry? Okay. Welcome to my first live stream. There's not anybody on right now. But that's okay. I said I was going to show up anyway. It would be nice, though, if people would join because I kind of need help making sure this is working. I'm using a free website. I'm not using OBS. That's why there is a watermark. Hopefully I can get that changed sometime or learn how to use OBS. Okay. So this is going to move really slow probably. I'm just going to go ahead and say because this is the first live stream. Like I said, it's basically just a test. And I'm figuring all this out. So okay. So let me get a drink. Can I point out that I can move my camera? Oops. It's just my phone. I got this app And yeah, because I was like, I need a webcam because just go ahead and look. This is the webcam that comes on my computer. Let me see if I can switch real quick. Yes. I mean, it's not bad, but my phone is better and I can move it around. So I like that a lot. So anyway, but the point of this live stream, I really need people on here because my connection is really spotty. So I don't know how this is going. I might just ramble on and it might never come out good because my connection is really spotty. But anyway, the point of this live stream is I have written a new short story. So I wanted to read a little bit of that to you guys, and I wanted to look at my other short story that I posted on my channel a couple months ago, and I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about what these concepts that I'm writing about in my short story mean to me, and maybe how you'll be able to get those for free. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Oh, yay. We have viewers. It is working. Thank you, Miss Marissa. And my mom. Hello, Mom. Yeah, okay, good. Because on here it says the connection is terrible, but as long as I'm not lagging around too much, then it should be fine. Okay, anyway, I'm going to force you guys to watch a video that I made. If I can figure out how to screen share. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm screen sharing. My mom told me to tell my siblings to get off the internet so my live stream will work better. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go yell at my siblings real quick. Okay, I'm back. Here's what I want to know. Can you guys see me and the shared screen, or do I have to do this? Oh, that makes more sense. Let me see. Wait a second. What did I do? What did I do? Okay. Hello, everybody. I think I just stopped the screen share. Hold on. Okay, now tell me. Can you see the screen? Like the screen share, or can you just see me? Okay. So now you can see the screen share, correct? I think that's how that works. Let me. No, where is. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Other stories.
Story about seeing the world with enchanted eyes.
The one I'm about to share is a lot better than this
The
one, I
moon
think.
rose
This one's
quietly
really
over the
short.
village,
I'm so proud of
shadowed
it.
in its
And I like the
monumental
video.
feat of stealing the place of the sun by the mundaneness of its daily happening, seeming insignificant to the people of the village.
Can you guys hear it?
Why don't they
Is it
seem
loud?
to care?
Like what?
Said the moon. Nightly I replace you with displays of my strength. I shoo away your clouds as I lead my flock of stars, reclining in the sky like a shepherd of the night. Yet the people only frown. That's the problem, said the sun. He could hear the moon grieving, and he too felt.
Goodbye.
Nightly you rise, daily I rise.
I
That's
wish
the
I
problem.
could show the comments on the
They don't like
screen.
daily things.
Well, I can individually.
We are daily things.
Yeah,
With that, the
I'm
sun
sure
turned to
it's.
face the moon. Pain
I know.
dawning in
I need to
his
get
eyes.
better connection somehow.
Are you injured, brother?
If I learn how
Asked
to
the
use
moon.
OBS, I'll probably
Pointed
just use
to the sun.
OBS next time.
No, I'm sad. And the sun began to cry, ugly, sobbing, weeping. He began to groan. The moon was moved with compassion for the weeping sun. Please don't cry, brother. You may not shine as the brightest star, but you shine for these. The moon turned to the earth and paused. His eyes traced lands, and he saw the beauty of things created. And never doubt, I see him smiling upon you even now. But still the sun continued to weep. I know his face, sobbed the sun, and I don't cry for me. I cry for them. The sun too had now turned to look upon the earth. I cry because they frown. The sun made a sound, a screech like the start of a baby's wail, and tears, the size of moons, fell from his eyes, splattering the continents and soaking the nations. Then, with a collective roar that shook the very nothingness of space, all of the stars began weeping and groaning. Seized by agony, they covered the earth with their tears. And as they shook in the sky, a mighty thundering rose from the depths of the earth, and the foundations quaked with all intensity. The rivers became as oceans, and from the oceans rushed new rivers, flattening the mountains that stood before them. With one voice, the birds lifted a song. With one sweep, the trees bowed to the ground. And as the tribes of men stood among the shaking, the stones of their kingdoms unified creation with one final note. When the chord of resonance was struck within the hearts of men, and they began to remember, the moon lifted his eyes and cried, "Let them see, in common days, that you are still in the mundane, and rainbows cover the face of the earth."
Okay. I'm confident in all, but it's so hard listening. Oh, there's a hair in my mouth. It's so hard listening to myself talk sometimes, especially read, but whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do. It looks like it's lagging terribly, so I apologize for that. But I'm just gonna push through it, I guess. Why is it lagging so bad? Oh, thank you, Marissa. I'm excited to talk about the other one. It's kind of the same theme concept, but I don't know. It's different, and it's better. I'm a lot more proud of it. It's a lot better writing. But I wanted to talk about where I kind of got the idea and where those came from. So the story. Let me grab something. Yeah. Okay. The video's terrible. Okay, it looks like it's being less laggy now, but I don't know what's happening. It says the internet's really spotty, but I should be the only one on the internet. Whatever. Anyway, so I have a collection of some poems and that short story, which will not be revealed today. That's just for me right now. But that short story that we just watched is called "The Moon Rose: A Story About Seeing the World with Re-Enchanted Eyes." Now, that term "re-enchanted eyes" I kind of stole from my favorite artist named John Mark McMillan. He is like a musical artist, so he writes a lot of great music, and I started listening to him about like a year ago. So, okay, yeah, the video is getting better. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think once I stopped screen sharing, it tripped it up. But anyway, I started listening to him about a year ago, and I really love his 2023 album called Deep Magic. And a lot of the songs on there actually like inspired. Okay, so let me just show you guys how my brain works a little bit. I have these like concepts and ideas that I think about, and then that's what leads the direction of my creativity or my writing because I'm exploring those. So one of the things that his music kind of inspired me to think about was the beauty in the mundane moments of life, the tyranny of the familiar, and what it looks like to see the world through a different lens. And that's what he calls like re-enchant your eyes, right? So I was thinking about the concept for beauty in the mundane and what it looks like to forsake the mundane. And for school, this was funny. I had to write a sentence practicing some sort of grammar skill for English. I don't even know. And it started out with the moon rose, and then I had to complete the sentence. So I wrote the first line to that, which was the moon rose quietly over the village. It's a very long first line. The moon rose quietly over the village, shadowed in its monumental feat of stealing the place of the sun by the mundaneness of its daily happenings, seeming insignificant to the people of the village. And I was like, oh, I really like that. I want to write a story about that. So that story is pretty obviously basically just about, I was thinking, what is something that's super mundane and that happens on a day-to-day basis? And I was like, well, that's the rising and setting of the sun and the rising and setting of the moon, right? So, and I thought, when you're a kid and you're a little kid, you pay attention to those things and you find those things so beautiful and it's awe-inspiring. But it tends to be seen that as people get older, sometimes they kind of reject that. So I wanted to write a story from the moon and sun's perspective of them understanding their beauty and the greatness of what they're doing, but seeing humans not even care when they rose in the sky because it was the same old, same old. So that's what I mean by there's still beauty in the mundane. So don't forsake the mundane things, because once you start to see the beauty in the mundane, that is how you re-enchant your eyes. So that's kind of what that was about. And that story and all. And now I have written another story with the concept of not so much as seeing the beauty in the mundane, but the same theme with the whole moon thing, and the fact that creation speaks of God, right? So that story that I'm about to read to you guys was inspired because I was still thinking about, I want to make sure I am being present in the day, and I am loving the mundane and experiencing it. So I was walking outside really early in the morning. The moon was still up. It was still dark. And I was just looking at the moon, just thinking of how beautiful it was, how serene the whole setting was. There was a lot of like steam fog because it was cold outside coming up from my pond. And that's what inspired this next story that I'm about to read to you. So it's the same theme with the moon, but this time, this story is about that creation speaks of God. This time it's about, yes, we should pay attention to God's wonderful creations and the beauty in them, but when it becomes our eyes are focused on them, that's not a good thing. And they are supposed to lead our eyes to God and our relationship with Him. So let me pull up that story, and I'm going to read either all of it or part of it. I'm not sure. Hopefully it doesn't start lagging too bad again. Here we go. I guess I'll just screen share this too. Okay. So keeping with the same theme, the same structure. The other one was called The Moon Rose, so I just decided to name this one The Moon Spoke. Subtitle, Did You Forget Divine? Oops. Okay, so here we go. It'd been a while since I'd talked to the man on the moon, but one night I couldn't sleep, and when it became early morning, I went outside. Barefooted, I crossed the cold, wet grass to the open yard. Steam fog rose from the pond in front of me, and that cool morning air felt like I should be steaming. My skin was chilled. I could see the moon fully rested this morning, without the covers that usually hid part of his face. I was glad. At least he'd have to look at me this time. From where I was standing, the steam from the pond barely rose high enough to seem to nip the bottom of the moon. But it didn't. Nothing ever touched him. Not the steam, not the cold morning air, and not my pleas. I'm cold, I said, staring at him. I can't sleep, and I haven't been able to for weeks. He just stared back at me with his empty face like always. Stop ignoring me, I yelled. I remember when you used to talk to me when I was young and I was at peace. There was a long, quiet pause, a quiet that early mornings welcome, and a pause that desperate hearts fear. The sun started to rise then, as the man on the moon started to fade. Another day answerless, I thought. Another day I'll spend wandering, turning circles and corners. Oh, that's supposed to be wandering. Oops, this isn't the final draft. Another day I'll spend wandering, turning circles and corners aimlessly because I'm not scared of the dark. I'm just scared of fully forgetting that peaceful child in me. And even a step out to the open room could bring a change I don't know how to deal with. What about Divine? Have you talked to him? He had spoken to me. After 10 years, he had spoken the beginning of his last conversation with me. But at the time, I didn't know. Who is Divine? I replied. You call him God or Jesus or Lord, but I call him Maker. I call him Divine. I was made to sit in silence, and you hated me for it. You cry for youth and peace, but it was when you were young that I spoke to you about Divine. My skin felt pricked all over, and I realized that the sun had now risen, except the moon hadn't moved. He had stopped dimming, as if making the sun wait his turn. I spoke to you of his power and his love. I turned your face to his beauty. Instead, you only wanted me. You had begun to rely on my insights and on my splendor alone. So I was made to shut up by him, that you might hear his voice, not mine. But you still cry out to me. Like a pagan, you moan and sob before me. And when I, like a stone, give you no answer, you hate me. You hate me for something that I can't change. You hate me for an answer I cannot give. You hate me. But if I were to have opened my mouth, I'd have been put out, and you'd hate me for leaving you. That is why I was silent. That is why when you brought your tears, I only stared, because you're ravished by me when I am only the light from his eyes. Let me just make sure this is working. I think it is. Where was I? When I'm only the light from his eyes. There was silence again. As I looked on, it seemed the moon had resumed his path over the horizon, and the sun continued to brighten the sky. I cried a tear. One tear. I wiped my eyes. What had I missed? After all this time, what had I not seen? When I was about to turn to go back inside and make my breakfast, a hand fell on my shoulder. Good morning, Michael. I made you some waffles and syrup this morning. It was my gardener. But for a second, I didn't know who I was looking at. A man with bright eyes stood before me. His arms were stretched in my direction, one offering bread and the other wine. Then after a few seconds, it was my gardener with his signature smile, offering me waffles and juice. Oh, thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. I took the plate and glass. Well, my pleasure. I'll be working on the mums today, just so you know. I stared, looking him up and down. He was my gardener, but it was as if he stood behind a fog, behind the image I had just seen before. Finally, I responded. Not a problem, not a problem. They're looking good, by the way. They do collect weeds pretty well, but I try my best. Then he turned to walk away towards the garden. Talk to you later, Michael, he said as he left. I watched him walk for a few seconds. And while I watched, my heart started to burn and ache with anxiety. No, I thought, I don't want him to leave. I want to talk with him, ask him about the food or the vision of the man. I wanted to see that image again, the one with bright eyes. Wait, he turned around. Were you listening to me earlier? That was what Michael asked. He just smiled his signature smile. Do you want to eat with me? He asked. I haven't finished all of my breakfast yet. Yes, I would love to. For a moment, my heart became giddy, like when I was a child going off to play with a friend, or like when my father came home to wrestle me in the yard. Again, he turned, and together we walked to the garden. Okay. Hopefully that works. I kind of read it. So that is the whole of that short story. That's about 1,000 words. Yes, I'm an amateur writer, but I think it's good. And it's not the last draft. I've seen some touch ups when I was reading it, but that is the story. And I wanted to talk about that one too. So, like I said, it's the same theme with the moon and everything. And I'm not going to explain that one too much. It's pretty self explanatory. But basically, the main theme for that one was yes, we should see the beauty in the mundane. But when our eyes become fixed on creation and not the creator, there's another problem, right? So when we glorify the beauty of the moon and it starts to become idol worship, because like I said, we're focused on the creation, not the creator, that's a problem. And I just tried to write that in a really beautiful way, right? Because that's a pretty foundational, simple truth, don't have idols. But I thought that was good. And it's the same concept. So what really inspired that was Romans 1:1, I think, which I'll read real quick. Let me see if I can find Romans. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and Romans. Oh, there we go. I know a song to memorize the books of the Bible. It is not Romans. Wow. That's embarrassing. It is not. What is it then? What am I thinking of? Is it? No, it's in Romans. It's Romans 1:12, I think. Hold up. Nope. No, it's not. What in the world? I'm not gonna have to look this up. I'll have to look this up. Okay. Give me just a second. It is Romans. It's Romans 1:20. I knew that. Believe me. Trust, guys. And I know. Okay. Yeah, I just love this verse. This is one of my favorite verses. Romans 1:20. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made. So they are without excuse, talking about humanity, right? So this is just saying the invisible attributes of God, his eternal power and divine nature, are displayed and clearly perceived since the creation of the world through the things that he's made. And that's what I was kind of getting to with the dialogue from the moon to Michael in that story, is he was just saying, I was made to shut up because you started looking to me and I was trying to turn your face towards him. So anyway, that's cool. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah. Also, most of you guys know that I am writing a book. Now, the book is a lot different than these short stories. But if you want to kind of get into some of my writing, plus another short story, there's a secret short story that may or not be written yet that you don't know about. And then hopefully some writings and some poetry will be available. I'm going to try to make available soon for free to you guys, that you guys are able to get. So if you want to start reading some of my stuff as an author, as you're watching along on my journey of writing my first novel, which is a lot different than this stuff. It's a whole different style even. Those two short stories that we just watched and read, plus another short story and hopefully some just writings that might not be stories, and hopefully a little bit of poetry will be available to you guys for free soon, hopefully. So make sure to subscribe and follow along. So that's mostly what I want to talk about. I just wanted to show you guys my new story. Should I make a video for it? I made a cinematic video for the moon rose. Should I make a cinematic video for the moon spoke? Let me know. I have a question from a commenter from a long time ago. I doubt you're watching, but if you are, thank you. I'm going to get to your question. I kind of already answered it, but let me go ahead and pull it up. Give me just a second. That's not it. Where is it? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, guys. I cannot find. I just took this picture earlier. There's a screenshot. Did I not save it? Must have not saved it. Let me just go to it real quick. On the U of tube. Okay. So I told this person right here at Mix Oi. I don't know. But I told them I would answer their question. And so they had a question. They asked me, what is my greatest inspiration for writing? It doesn't have to be related to writing style per se, but any art or media or ideas that tickles the brain. So where I get inspired to, I kind of answered this question early on in the stream, but where I get inspired to write a lot times is music. It's music, the Bible, honestly. Like, I'm being honest, guys. I'm not trying to sound holier than thou or anything, but a lot of my writing is I get inspired by concepts that I start thinking about because of music, the Bible, or just like the time I spend with God reading the Bible and my prayers, just concepts that I'm thinking about in my mind. And it's just stuff, I guess, that my soul is pondering. That's not supposed to sound super spiritual. That's just supposed to sound like that's where I get my ideas. Like, surprisingly enough, it's not from reading other people's stuff, which I do read and that, but I just get my ideas from, I get a lot of inspiration from classic books too. I really enjoy, as far as style, like I know he said, or he or she said that I didn't have to answer this, but I enjoy literary fiction because it's a lot more, I guess, philosophical, and the themes are a lot deeper than some other works of like fantasy or fiction, and I really appreciate that and enjoy that. Um, but no, like a lot of the things I like to write about are things that I'm thinking about, life questions, ways to see life, and I get inspired by music in the Bible, specifically my favorite artist, John Mark McMillan. I like his music and I like some of the things he talks about, and that's what inspires me. Yeah, that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Hopefully I can make a video for The Moon Spoke at some time, and make sure to stay connected with me and stay subscribed, because I am going to be releasing both of those short stories plus another short story, hopefully some. Oh, how long has my mic been cut out? Are you kidding me? No way. Oh my goodness. Okay, it just now cut out. Thank you. I was like, whatever. I told you guys, I don't know what I'm doing. This is a test anyway. Okay. It only cut out for a few seconds. Thank you, Mom. You've got my back. Anyway. Okay. Thank you, Marissa, too. Okay, good. I was like, man, this thing has cut out this entire time. I was like, I'm not redoing and re-saying everything I just said. But anyway, to wrap. Okay, I know. I got a new mic. New mic acquired. Hold up. There we go. Okay. So, like I said, thank you guys for sticking with me, helping me figure this out. I'm gonna try to have my next live stream. I don't know. I'm gonna try to start live streaming frequently, but this was just a test one. So, thank you for enduring through the slowness and the pauses. But the main thing I wanted to get across in this live stream was just to kind of connect. Like I know I didn't expect to have a lot of people on here, but I know some people will go back and rewatch this. And the main thing I wanted to do with starting the live stream was just to connect with my viewers more personally. And I just wanted to tease that story a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, the main point was to tease that story and tell you guys that soon I will have The Moon Rose, The Moon Spoke, probably another moon themed, really like flash fiction short story, all in a collection, hopefully along with just some regular writings, some of my thoughts, and some poetry that you guys will be able to pick up for free. And if you're curious about that, if you're curious about my book, I just recommend subscribing, following along, go ahead and checking out those stories once they get released, and I will let you guys know once I get finished. But as far as the book, I'll be honest with that. I'm nervous to start. I think I'm at the point where I can just start drafting, and I plan on starting that soon. But like I said, I'm still nervous because I have been thinking about the ideas for this book for years. and I have writings on it and for it from years ago. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be great. And if you want to know more about that, check out some other videos on my channel. I have a couple vlogs mentioning it a little bit, and hopefully you'll get a couple more vlogs soon. Anyway, thanks for helping me figure out this live stream, everyone who did. And yeah, as always, stay in awe, stay awesome. And check me out on Instagram at gunnerlane_. I post cool stuff on there, different stuff than on YouTube. And yeah. All right. Thank you guys.